like we've both known each other for a while. I know a lot of people will probably know you specifically from Kouri, and then know me specifically from music.
Yeah.
But so we've known each other since like we were 15,
Ninth
something
grade.
like
Yeah.
that.
14,
Yeah,
15.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was a really interesting time in terms of like creatives and like people that make things in our area.
Mm.
I feel like there wasn't really an infrastructure, but I remember seeing the people like older than us, and I just remember feeling like what ASAP Mob felt like in like around like 2014, where
Oh, yeah.
everybody was just like, I don't know, it was just like everybody was just outside and just making things,
Hmm.
and people were super just randomly connected.
Yeah.
But yeah, how did that feel for you?
Well, to be frank, I tapped into the creative scene like quite a long while after.
Yeah,
Like within
true.
high school, it was really just playing sports.
Mm,
So by the time that I kind of set a foot in, so that's 2020, 2021, like
yeah,
during the conception of Kouri, I think there was like the people that were like creative from young were somewhat established at the time, and there was somewhat of foundation built, I think, right? Like, I mean, if we're talking about like within the realm of clothing, like Bijoy started doing Aurora pretty early into high
yeah,
school, and like I think that was also, or when he reached his peak, that was near the rise of the online social media clothing brand.
yeah, 100%.
So there was already somewhat of a foundation built. It was obviously still in its formative stages, not nearly to the point that it's at now. But
Yeah,
there, I wasn't around for the building. You
that's
know,
true.
I kind of came in pretty late. But as far as like other creative mediums, music, we've known artists for super long.
Yeah,
Like shout out Kavan. We went to
yeah.
elementary school together, KC, and yeah, he's been making music for as long as I can remember.
Hmm.
So I mean, in other mediums, there was definitely some motion, but
I would also say like in terms of the whole like established thing, I feel like a large part of that was also just like people like making mistakes and like fucking up and
it's
like
true. It's true.
because definitely like I'll say like even in terms of me like putting out music, recording in a closet, and then like just seeing the other music that we had out, and like there was definitely the vision there,
Yeah,
but it was definitely a lot of people's like trial and error attempts.
100%. But I think what's funny about that is it was easy to distinguish the people who had the vision, even at that time. If the
Yeah,
technical skills weren't there, like you could ask pretty much anyone that heard Chudy's music in grade 9 and 10, like this guy Remsen, he's had vision. He
mm.
just didn't have a very good mic or laptop. So like we were
Yeah,
we
the
were just
laptop
waiting on
crashes
that. We are
are
waiting on the tech
insane.
upgrade. But
The
once we
laptop
got
crashes
there,
are insane.
it was a jump, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, the vision, like I think the vision is the first thing to build,
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. Speaking of, you got the Corey behind me.
Yeah, I got some pieces, some Korea archive.
Okay, so specifically, because I know I was bugging you about actually showing me the designs before they came out,
Like everyone.
and you were keeping it top secret,
Yeah, of course.
like a
Where's the
weirdo.
fun without the surprise, man? I feel like people are trying to just destroy the magic, and like I'm trying to preserve it. It's just a one man army of me trying
Okay,
to.
so let's destroy the magic because I want you to explain it at least a little bit. I want like the last one specifically. I want you to explain Capsule 5 a
Sure.
little
I
bit.
mean, like now that Capsule 5 is out, the magic is out there. So
Yeah, that's true. That's
I
true.
could definitely get into it. But I mean, just for some context, the way I've been running Kouri since the beginning and continue to run it now is like capsule drops that are based on a concept.
Hmm.
The concept can be a word, it could be a phrase. It's really anything that I think is attached pretty well to my personal philosophy. I
Yeah,
think that's my approach to keeping it personal and genuine. So I mean, started with the humility capsule, capsule 1. We did the lotus, capsule 2, capsule 3. We did Ubuntu, capsule 4.
yeah,
We did Meraki, and then capsule 5 here we did release. So speaking specifically on capsule 5, this capsule kind of came to me as I was doing some reading. One thing I definitely like to do is like keep an eye open to like different trains of thought, ways of
yeah.
thinking. That's like kind of just how I keep my mind fresh.
Hmm.
And I came across it was a quote, I believe, and this is bad that I don't remember. I'm kind of being put on the spot, but I came across a quote that was simply put, it was "let go or be dragged," and
Mm.
I love mantras that are simple like that because it so much of the philosophy that we overcomplicate and over intellectualize can be broken down into like a few words
Yeah,
sometimes, and I think that the beautiful thing is like being able to express that in various ways. So obviously I've taken the route of doing it through clothing.
Yeah.
But when I heard that right away, I was able to apply it to so many situations and lessons that I've learned into my life. So putting it into a capsule was kind of like a no brainer for me. That's kind of how I've been running them thus far. Like if something really attaches to me, like I try to work it into a design language. So
Yeah.
um,
I feel like the term design language is such
mm,
like a I feel like it's so applicable in like a lot of places. I feel like in music especially, I feel like there are so many things that can contribute to how you convey like what you want to say and
right,
like how you feel at the time because music is like 90% feeling and like the rest is just execution and
sure,
like making sure that it comes out in good quality.
yeah,
Um but yeah, like essentially with conveying your message, I feel like it's super important on a fashion end because I feel like it's not really a secret. I feel like on a fashion end, it's super saturated right now, and a lot of people kind of don't have an identity. And I say the same for music. I feel like identity wise, a lot of people go in first and they
mm,
put things through that like filter, and then afterwards they try and figure out like, oh, who I am, like who am I in this,
right,
which like definitely like happened to me as well. I feel like recently with the new music that I've been making, which unfortunately people haven't been able to hear yet. Some of it has dropped, like Things I'll Never Understand dropped,
yeah, yeah,
George Condo, Sacrifice, and all that. Um, but yeah, I just feel like I've gotten a lot better at conveying the headspace I'm in, especially like production wise as well, matching that with what I want to say, and then still trying to direct it to who I want to hear it in a way that they'll understand. And also just stop being so scared of like coming across like in an unlikable way or in a way that like people won't understand. Like
right,
at the end of the day you have to you kind of have to speak in a code that calls people that understand you, which is kind
hundred
of
percent.
is difficult to do, but I think it's super necessary.
I don't. I have a question. So, do you really think that it's difficult, or is it just daunting to put your genuine self out there, not necessarily knowing what reaction you'll expect? Is
Mm.
that difficult
I
in its
don't think
actual
it's
execution, or is it the feeling of not knowing whether or not it's going to be received
right,
well that
right.
makes it feel scary?
I think that's why you have to have like a little bit of delusion. I feel like
Mm,
depending on how much like self confidence or delusion you have, it gets a little bit less daunting and a little bit easier because
right,
it's like you kind of don't care a little bit. I
right,
think my don't care factor kind of came in with like a bunch of things happening, just being like uh super spread thin, working a lot,
yeah.
making a little bit of money, spending a little bit of money, like getting it. I'm not
Okay. All right.
getting into like certain things and just like understanding myself a little bit more.
Right.
Um and I think that that comes through especially in the new stuff that I'm writing, and I think production wise it also matches with what I like.
Right.
Um I don't know if like I've really said it anywhere, but like I have an EP that's gonna come out pretty soon. The name of it is Eventually Now.
Mm,
I don't want to give too much away as like the exact meaning of it, but I think with everything going on right now, and then also with like the things going on in my personal life, I think like it kind of will make sense when people hear it. Um, yeah, I'm really excited about it because I feel like all the directness that I've been trying to get across for so long, whether that's sonically or like lyrically, I feel like it comes through, and it comes through in a way that's like less filtered and less like contrived and trying to be something and just purely just saying how I feel.
right.
It's like journal entry raps, but in a way that I actually like
Right.
would play in my car like 24/7 and just run back over and over.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I asked the question on whether
Mm,
you would consider it hard or easy, because now it really just sounds like you're coming more. There's less of a filter that you need to put onto like
all
your
right.
creation. Like
Exactly.
now you're just coming more genuine, which is like again similar to writing in a journal. You're kind of just getting your thoughts out there.
Yeah, and
As a
it's
yeah,
also when you realize that like life experience is just is like good or bad, positive or negative. Like nobody's life experience is greater than or less than.
it's true.
Um, and you can really like nothing is weird to talk about. Everybody goes through whatever they go through.
It's
Sorry,
true.
continue what you were saying.
I was just gonna say, like if we compare it to like maybe some previous rap that you've done, like
Mm,
previous work, that might be trying to associate with a uh, certain themes, certain
mm,
ideas that like might not have been as personal to you. That causes you to have to now outreach feeling. You're now
exactly.
having to intentionally replicate the things that you're seeing, hoping that you'll receive that expected result. That
Exactly.
like I guess the more popular themes within rap,
Hmm.
creation, hip hop.
And I think that's kind of like it's kind of like a side effect of like seeing really cool shit
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
for sure.
like these like super great artists
Hmm.
and they're putting out these super high concept ideas and you don't have a lot of resources, but what you
Right.
do have is like these ideas. So your imagination kind of goes wild and then the personality gets a little bit lost.
Oh yeah.
I think I'm at a point now where like the quality is there. Production wise, I know what I'm doing.
Hmm.
And like as far as after this project, like there's things that I'm working on and I feel like it'll make it easier to have those high concept ideas because I have more resources now.
Right.
Especially after this album, I'm not gonna after this EP. Um, if it does, God willing, if it does what I hope it does, then I think the resources will only go up from here.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I definitely think so too. To be honest with you, like the way that you've approached. Actually, let me ask you first. Do you feel like there's anything that you would have changed in your approach to making music from the original conception of your like the first piece of music that you made till now? Are there any critical mistakes that you see, or do you feel like this is kind of like I feel like I know the answer to this question, but do you
Yeah.
feel like there's do you feel like it ended up playing the way that it needed to play out?
I think it went exactly how it needed to go.
Yeah.
I think obviously like with hindsight is like, can see a lot more than like what you originally saw.
Yeah, yeah, for
But
sure. That storming is necessary.
yeah, I think just allowing yourself to just be in the moment. I kind of look back at
Mm,
my a lot of my albums like super negatively at certain points, and then after like a few years, it'll be like, oh man, like this was actually like I can pinpoint things. But I
right,
think with this one, I'm feeling exactly how I want to feel about it.
right.
Um, right now, like I'm
Hmm.
I'm enjoying it a lot right now. I'm understanding the themes, and it feels super direct.
Hmm.
So I'm excited, and I'm excited to see what you have coming next as well.
Honestly, I'm always excited to just see what we put out because
Yeah.
realistically, I think in general, since we become more genuine in our approach to making things, it's been kind of just fun to see the way our thoughts manifest is
Yeah.
like in the mediums that we approach
Hmm.
or in the mediums that we choose to use. But as as far as your music goes, uh, I think, and this is like you can tell me whether you think this is true or not, but I think that when you look back on the music that you're making right now,
Hmm.
5 years,
Hmm.
I don't think you'll have the same, maybe discomfort or feel like have that dissonance between your current thought and previous thought that you did from now 5 years back,
Yeah.
right?
I think as you get older, like I think every day you grow more into who you actually are.
Yeah,
If you're actually trying to,
right,
you know, I
right.
feel like you just have to make the conscious effort to like talk with yourself. I
Hmm.
have a lot of conversations with myself, and
Important.
I think that's important in essentially just filtering out what needs to be done to grow yourself and then what's a distraction.